puts up a tough shot. Bounces around. Goes in at the buzzer. Working it down to 2-1. A deep three. Oh!
It's population.
That's how you win a game.
It's population. We hustle every day to find picks. You can tell us if you want to get rich. It's population. We robbing underdog and PrizePicks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team card. The whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Bookies setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like rats to the cheese. But I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the props till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the bros. Only with craw, never reload. Underrated them up, amigos. We go with honest, we seeking the bloods. We know when a fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, they can't be good for my health. Some might call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks. Population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now. Let the games begin.
Unbelievable. Just happened. He did it.
It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash.
All right, yo, what's up, guys? How we doing, E?
Doing pretty well, man. I feel like came out with the head just above water after this crazy night of basketball. How about yourself?
It was crazy, man. Yeah, it was a frustrating slate, right? Like, we just feel like it had our hands tied behind our back because like all the props were getting either removed or held back because there was like 10 guys on that were game time decisions. So I hope this slate is better. I don't see many major questionable tags so far. So I think as of right now, we have clean air. So what do we have? 10 games or 11?
I believe it's 8 tomorrow and 9 on Friday.
8 tomorrow. That's a good number. I always like that 6 to 8 range. So don't have all the games, but looks like I think we have about 3 to 4 with some parts here and there. I guess the one major questionable thing is Beal. He's questionable, and we don't know if he's going to return because he's been out with that hamstring injury. So that's like one of the major things we're going to have to look out for. And then I think Nurkic is probable. So, but I wanted to touch on that game. Man, Kevin Durant absolutely destroys the RA against the Rockets. He in the 2 meetings, in the most recent one, even he had 11 rebounds, 8 assists, and then earlier in the year he had 10 rebounds, 16 assists, just absolutely crushing it. And then lately, with Beal out, he's still dominating potentials. He had 15 potentials, and then D-Book was right behind him at 13. And the Rockets, especially against forwards and wings, they give up rebounds or assists too. So I think this is a really good spot again for him. But the only drawback is Royce O'Neal. So I think, and it also depends on Beal. So Royce O'Neal is playing huge minutes with Beal out. I think he played last game 37 minutes. I think he was in rebound chances. He was second to Nurkic with 14 rebound chances, and that's a big reason why he had 9 rebounds. This is a perfect rebound spot for him too, with how the Rockets shoot a lot of threes and those long balls and that go out to the wing and guys like him crashing in from the outside. He could be a problem for KD's RA for sure. Because see, in this game, KD only had 7 rebound chances, so half the rebound chances to Royce and that their last game. But I just like the upside here. And I mean, how do you feel if Beal's out? Does Royce O'Neal give any pause for RA for both even KD and D Book? D Book we don't have his RA because it's pretty heavy juice on the over right now, 9.5. I think it's like minus 140. If you wanted to, you could do it in the books like DK or Flip. What's your thoughts on that? Is Royce O'Neal if Beal's out again, is Royce O'Neal something to worry about? And would you even consider Royce O'Neal once we get his props? Because he's a secondary guy. We won't get those till tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's worth considering. But you do also have to keep in mind that Eric Gordon also missed that game, and he alongside Beal are both questionable. So if either of these guys are available, I would imagine either one of them is going to start here, and he's going to go back to the bench. But still, again, for that bench unit, it is a pretty solid spot for a rebounding upside. So just kind of keep that in mind. Depends on how they're going to work this, because we could even see also maybe Beal coming off the bench and they keep one of these guys in the starting unit and, kind of rotate pieces like that. So keep an eye on at least this team in particular for that injury news.
Yeah, and right now they currently have D-Book at 5.5 assists. Any interest there, or is the pace on spot against the Rockets and how much KD dominates potentials? If Beal's out, would you consider it? He only had 2 assists in that recent meeting against the Rockets, just because KD dominated in that game as well with potentials in playmaking.
I think it would be worth a look to, at least consider it with if Beal does in fact sit. One thing that's kind of interesting, and maybe it's a little nombo for it, Houston is actually now one of the top 4 free throw and fouls per game. So some of that could kind of also handicap, your assist upside here. If say Booker is going to be more the slasher for the team, we could see him probably get to the line a little bit more here.
That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. They've been dropping his free throw line consistently at 6.5 for D-Book, and he's with Beal out. He is just, especially against hacking teams, he's been racking up the free throws. So I wouldn't hate that if it was at 6.5 again. So definitely look out for that. Let's see what he had in that recent meeting about 5 days ago.
11.
He had 11. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. It's a good point. They are fouling at a very high clip. When you have Dylan Brooks and Jabari out there. Yeah, let's look out for that. Okay, well, this is good. We just got the OKC Spurs, so let's take a look at these props. We love attacking the Spurs. And Wembo returns back home, right? In this matchup against Chet, which we've seen, I believe, 2 times now.
Yeah, they're finally back home after a 9-game road stint.
Okay, so this is a great spot for Wemby at home, especially, and he gets up for this games against Chet. What is there any particular prop? Let's see what we have available for him. I mean, obviously it's fantasy just because of stock upside, but we're not going to get that till tomorrow, so. Yeah, pretty limited right now. And we don't have any first half lines for him. If his first half fantasy opens at 25.5, would you take a stab at it? Or like that the most, you think? Or
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's keep an eye out for that. And then
I think his just straight up points right now probably have some of the best value.
Okay. So add that.
Because he could honestly get to the free throw line, quite a bit here. He's such a unique player. Like it's so hard to defend this guy.
Yeah.
And it's not like, Chet really has a lot of help on the inside here. It's basically just going to be him and Jalen Williams on the help coverage, and Wemby could kill him from deep or just from that mid range.
Yeah, I'm with you. The points, and then if you're not doing fantasy, then PR too, just because how much OKC cannot protect the glass, especially against bigs down low. So the PR would
Yep.
be another play for sure. Um,
Six,
and then
six
OKC
offensive
side,
rebounds last game.
what?
Oh, sorry, I was saying he had 6 offensive rebounds against him last game.
Yeah, that's OKC for you, right? Them and like the Wizards have been like top in the top three all season.
Hmm.
Um, any playmaking here? I mean, Spurs bleed assists as well. I mean, they bleed everything: points in the paint, assists, threes. Any playmaking or scoring upside we like for OKC here? I mean, they just like I feel like Jalen Williams switches off his role game to game. Like he's either super aggressive in scoring and not passing as much, or some games he takes a back seat and he's like a playmaker and he'll have like 8 or 9 assists. So it is a good assist spot for him though.
Yeah, let me peep him real fast because I want to say he's got some weird home road splits.
Okay,
Um,
we can
yeah,
come back
see,
to
the
that.
last time when they played the Spurs at the Spurs this last time, he had 12 RA and 7 assists.
Yeah. Do we have his RA? Got it.
Probably not. No,
Okay.
not yet.
Let's see what it's in the books. Like DK at least. Yeah, there's pretty big juice. So we'll get it at 9. I mean, it's minus 140 at 8.5. So okay. I mean, and great spot for Chet too. So um, Chet, if his fantasy's at his normal 20 and a half first half, would you consider? Or I just worry about full game because of blood potential. I'm sure it's double digit spread, right? So, but at least it's in San Antonio. But OKC has just been so solid, and the Spurs have not. So yeah, it's 11-point spread.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chet's been, man, I think he's hit that in the last like 7 games in a row. One thing that PrizePicks keeps doing is they keep opening him at like 19.5, and then by the time it's locked, he's been all the way up to like 21.5 last couple games. So he might drop it 20 flat, or small chance we get it at 19.5 again. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. He could definitely have a block party again.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, even his first half points right now are low. I'm sure that'll probably bump to 9 flat or 9.5 by tomorrow, just due to the matchup. I feel like every big or center against the Spurs by the next day, the first half lines get juiced. So if you wanted just a early value low line there for him, you just always got to worry about SGA in the first half because he just dominates usage so much, especially when the first quarter, because he plays the entire first quarter and he has the highest usage rate during that quarter. I'm pretty sure that quarter out of the entire game is his highest usage rate besides the last 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. So it's yeah, that's always a concern. But when we've seen all these guys clear their first half lines in favorable matchups, like when they played the Wizards recently, right? All of them cleared their first half PRA. So Jalen, Chet, and SGA. Okay. Speaking of SGA, any interest with him? I'm sure his first quarter points will probably be 10 flat. It's usually 9.5, but just given the matchup, I'm sure it'll be juiced to 10 flat.
Yeah, it looks like he's pretty well even at 10.5 on the books right now. So I think
Okay.
it's pretty solid. Unless there's for whatever reason trying to commit to a double team here. I assume he's probably just going to do his thing in the first quarter. Um, Actually, talking about first quarter right now, they do have Wimby at 4.5 points. It's like minus 130. I think he's getting that for sure. This home game coming back, they're just going to feed him early. And you could probably
Yeah.
consider Chet as well. He's at 3.5 again.
Yep. Okay. I'm sure that's Underdog usually has their first. If you're on Underdog, they usually post their first quarter lines the night before. So if you wanted to jump on any of the first quarter lines for bumps tomorrow, as Juice comes in on the lines. Okay. Um. Oh, one other thing. There's not much from these other early games I had interest in, unless you do. But there was one thing I noticed, given like the Hawks, how they bleed assists, and Cam Thomas, I think is still going to be out. But Cam Johnson, I think he led. He was second in potential assists with 7 or 8 last game. Didn't play a full amount of minutes because it was a blowout. All the starters checked out within the first 2 minutes of fourth quarter. How do you feel about the 2.5 assists if he continues to play kind of this Cam Thomas role? Because we saw Cam Thomas playmaking and scoring as well.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad. It might be a little more inflated right now because Ben Simmons was also out as well, so they were missing both their two kind of primary handlers. But
Is he back?
I'm looking right now. I think he is. Yeah, so Cam Thomas is out already, and it looks like Simmons is gonna play.
Okay. Well, that might hurt it somewhat, but I mean, there's already juice. Oh wow, it's already minus 135, so it might bump. Who knows? I could see this type of line could fluctuate, just depending on what people do early on. It's just the Hawks, especially against wings, like when the ball rotates, their switch defense and perimeter defense is so bad, and they give up so many threes that like when there's like a secondary pass from a guy who's especially a 3-point shooter who's not open, and they pass it off to another 3-point shooter, they just get so many assists that way. So, okay.
I do think it is honestly still a good shot to get there. For two reasons. One, this last game that Ben did play, he actually came off the bench. They kind of hit us with the last minute line change there. So, and he is still very much limited. Like this dude is not okay. So maybe he plays at best 20 minutes, I think. But I think he's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays like 18 minutes here or something like that.
Yeah, and the coaches seem to not really favor him as much either. So, okay, yeah, some low line, favorable spot to consider, but yeah, it's Cam Johnson, and he's just going to be a wing shooter, 3-point shooter, but the shot's not there. He's going to pass it off. Anything else from that Atlanta game? You could always consider Jalen Johnson's RA, but I think it's juiced already, like heavily juiced relative to what it is in other books. Because I think it's 13.5 elsewhere, like on FanDuel and DK. And PrizePicks already threw a whole one tax on it. He killed with playmaking against Utah, but that's Utah. They bleed threes as well and assists. So a little bit different matchup here against Brooklyn. Any interest with that? 14.5, or maybe if people have access to books, just play the 13.5.
Yeah, the books would be more ideal. I mean, I'd imagine he might bump to like 14 flat, but I mean, this guy's playing some pretty insane minutes, and I got to give Atlanta some credit. Unfortunately, with Trae Young going out, they have looked way better, and they're actually pretty decent on defense. I mean, they put it on Orlando, which is a pretty stout team, and being able to handle Utah here. I think that we could see some positive things from this team. So as long as he is not keeping or staying out of foul trouble, he's still, or at least he was this last game, he was the secondary playmaker, and yep, same thing. So he's riding coattails just behind DeJounte, and I mean it's another 3-point up spot. So I could see it. You are paying a tax on PrizePicks, though.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. It's a 2 point spread. I mean, it's not the greatest total, and that's because it's just most Nets games aren't. They're usually really low totals, but Atlanta's games are the opposite, right? They bring up the totals in all their matchups because of their pace being top five in pace and bottom five in defense. But I agree. I mean, with Trey being out, it definitely improves our perimeter defense because he is someone that ball handlers always look to get switched onto and attack and isolate. So him being out definitely helps with that. Okay. Did you have any other targets that you looked early on before we got on here that were of interest?
Yeah, there's a couple. I think that it's basically a nerfy, but the Draymond Green .5 3-point made. They kind of off and on keep adding it, but they will definitely take that away. That'll be gone well in advance tomorrow. And another one that he's not a comfortable click all the time, but I got to give it up to Jabari Smith. He's been playing out of his mind since coming back lately. Some of these games are unfortunately repeat games that we just saw like within the last week. This one kind of the same thing. They just played Phoenix, but he absolutely wrecked them. I mean, he had like 41, I think, PRA. But this guy's found a shot, and he is crashing the glass like crazy. So as long as he stays out of foul trouble, right now he is in good graces with Coach, and Coach is just letting him run. I mean, he played like almost the entire second half last game.
Yeah, he's been cutting into Sengun's production for sure. Let's see if he stays on this heater. I mean, he was super consistent in his back-to-back meetings against OKC. Kind of similar situation here against Phoenix. Although I think in that recent meeting 5 days ago, was Nurk out and Eubanks started?
Yes, and Eubanks shut Şengün down. He played so bad.
Well, Nurk is back now. Probably, I mean, Nurk can hold it down sometimes. I mean, just being a big body, especially for rebounding too. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to go over on Jabari, under on Sengun. Any interest in the guards here? I mean, guards have just absolutely wrecked Phoenix, but Jalen Green has been a shell of himself. His minutes are all over the place. He's losing minutes to the rookies and Thompson and Whitmore, and this, especially if he's playing bad, Udoka will just bench him right away and bring in the rookies as a spark plug. But it's such a good matchup for both him and Van Vliet, but both are very, very inconsistent offensively as of late.
Yeah, I think, Van Fleet, I feel like he's due for a good game here. The last meeting, he had a absolutely horrible first half, but he really came alive in the later part of the game and still ended up dropping 33 PRA. I would say keep an eye out for his fantasy line. Like this dude was racking up all kinds of crazy stocks before he got hurt earlier on in the season. So something is going to switch back over, and he's going to get back in at least somewhat of his form. And like you mentioned, Jalen and some of these other guys losing out to like Amen and these other bench dudes. It's a little risky for these two guards, I think, right now, but at least Van Fleet has the longer leash. He's still leading in playmaking, and any night he gets snapped from three, and he'll probably play heavy minutes again.
That's a good point. Yeah, Udoka really trusts Van Vliet, no matter how poorly he's shooting. I think he just really likes his veteran presence and defense. So, but I mean, but you brought up Cam Whitmore. I think you can definitely. They usually drop him sometime midday tomorrow. So I think you can definitely consider him in this matchup, especially coming off the bench and going against the Suns' second unit. yeah, I would just consider his points or PR. And okay, yeah, Van Vliet, I'm with you on point guards fantasy versus Suns has been a money well. So let's see what it opens at tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that. There was another prop, real quick before we get off. I wanted to bring up. It's not on the board. Won't be here till late tomorrow. But Bobby Portis, we get the same matchup. Bobby Portis first half PRA. This guy is just like, I don't know what it is, but he loves playing the Hornets, and he absolutely wrecks them. Look out for it. Last game they juiced it from its usual 10.5 to 11.5. Still played it, and he still crushed it. I imagine they might bump it to 12. We'll see. Let's see here. Yeah, his last 2 games in the month of February, he's had 17 PRA, and then most recent game, he had 25. So, yeah, I would definitely look out for that. And then earlier in the year, he had 14 PRA. So he's gotten over that in all 3 of his meetings versus them. But we won't get that till sometime tomorrow. Was there any others?
One honorable mention for Wendell Carter. They gave him a 0.5 block prop, and Utah is just absolutely bleeding blocks out of their mind right now. It's a little nerfy sweat, but an interesting one.
Yeah, I saw Kessler is questionable, even though he's not playing that many minutes, but still coming off the bench, right? Yeah, I mean, as long as they don't start Gogo alongside him like they did 2 games ago, and Banchero is still questionable, right?
I believe he's good to go, actually. He was dealing with the illness.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
both him and Isaac looks like Q tags, but I would probably expect Banchero at least to play.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see what they do. Yeah, I'm with you on the block. Especially if Goga doesn't start alongside him again. Okay. I think we got a lot of props to look out for. Another for Chet, if we get his 1.5 dunk against the Spurs, I'll definitely look out for that. Who knows? They might bump it to 2. They might just not give it to us. They started being a little bit more selective on dunk props just because of the hit rate. And I can't think of anything else on the top of my head that's not currently on the board. Sorry, it's still somewhat limited board. We don't have fantasy and all the other lines, but hopefully some of these help. I think, yeah, if you don't want to play KD's RA because of Royce O'Neal, I definitely, if Beal's out, you can definitely go with D-Book's assists. We talked about Jalen's assist upside here. If you wanted to go with that as well, look out for his RA. I think it's going to be 9 though. Could play in the books at 8.5. And yeah, and their first half props. I still don't think they're available yet. But definitely want, oh, here we go. Yeah, definitely want Chet's fantasy upside. And yeah, Jalen too. I mean, just because of the stocks, but yeah, he gets it done with the PRA. As long as he can stay out of foul trouble, he racks up fouls and a flurry in the first half a lot. So always something to think about. And then SGA ball hogging. So yeah, be back tomorrow because you said we have 9 games tomorrow or the following day on Friday. So get a stream out on Thursday night.
Yeah. And real fast, actually, before we head out, with the LeBron is like probably 90% to sit tomorrow. The Lakers are back home playing Washington, and they are, I believe this is the 4th game in 5 days. So keep almost assuredly some guys are sitting here. Like, I would be so shocked if after tonight, I mean, and that was also LeBron. That was his highest 3 points made in the last 8 years. He's only cracked 7 or more 3 times. So this is like super epic game for him.
Oh man.
And then Kuzma's return to LA as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. I mean, if LeBron is out and AD plays, I would get 100% AD first half. It never fails against the Wizards. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they'll juice it to 14.5 if LeBron's out. But if they open him at 13.5 points, like, sign me up. Yeah, for sure. I didn't even see what other games that were not on the board. Okay. Yeah. And slight mention, Wiggins is out again. So increase role for Kuminga, more minutes. If you wanted to go to him, not as good as matchup as last game for him against the Wizards, but yeah, I think he should start getting some more of his minutes back with Wiggins out, because ever since Gary Payton has returned, Kuminga's been playing 5 less minutes per game than when he was playing before Gary Payton came back. So he's been losing out on minutes, playing like 26 minutes, not 31 or 32 minutes that he was playing previously. But now Wiggins out, more usage, more minutes. So don't mind it at all. And then you said Draymond's 3-point prop.
Yep. He played till a miss.
Alrighty, and Brunson is questionable, but if he plays, don't mind his assist or RA in this matchup against the Warriors. With all the 3 balls going up, a lot of long rebounds, and he's been playmaking. So if he plays, don't mind the RA. But you always got to worry about guys like Josh Hart. So something to keep in mind. But he's just been crushing the assist department, and he should snag some rebounds here from the mysteries. All right, E. Nothing else, man. We'll be back on tomorrow. Catch up with people. Is there anything from the chat? This said, hey, appreciate it. Yeah, Curly P. Yeah, we did pretty good for given the slate and the injuries, but no, it turned out well. Yeah, LeBron is very close to the 40K point mark. That was a big game for him. Alrighty, man. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Later.